There is one moment every one of us will live, only once, and no one will be able to describe it to those who remain. It is the moment when our eyes close on this earth and open again elsewhere. For an instant, the briefest of instants, and yet longer than an entire lifetime, the soul finds itself alone, without the body, without time. And in that instant, it sees something. The first thing. Before the judgment, before any word, before it even realizes it has died, the soul sees one single thing. And what it sees, said Mother Speranza of Jesus, is not what almost everyone expects. It is not the tunnel of light so many speak of. It is not the parade of one's own sins. It is not a tribunal. It is not a scale. It is not a book lying open on our faults. Mother Speranza told that the first thing the soul meets is far simpler, and precisely for this reason, infinitely more overwhelming. And this is where we must pause, because what she confided about that first instant changes the way we look at our own death. Mother Speranza was born in Santomera, Spain, in September of 1893, with the name Maria Josefa Alhama Valera. She lived a life of poverty, of hidden labor, and of interior sufferings that few ever knew. On Christmas Day of 1930, in Madrid, she founded the first of her religious families, dedicated to a single message, to make known to the world the merciful love of God. She spent her final years in Collevalenza, in Italy, where she died on February 8, 1983. All her life she told of having heard the voice of Jesus, and what she reported never spoke of punishment, but always of mercy. Jesus, according to her testimony, would repeat to her words that seemed too beautiful to be true. "My daughter, men know me poorly. They believe me a severe judge, and I am a father who waits." And he would add, "In the hour of death I do not come armed with condemnations. I come as I came into the world, unarmed, wounded, and full of love." Mother Speranza once asked the Lord what truly happens in that first instant when the soul opens its eyes in eternity. And Jesus, she recounted, showed her something that left her without words. The first thing the soul sees is a gaze, two eyes looking upon it, the eyes of Jesus fixed upon it, as though in all the universe no one else existed. Not a gaze that accuses, but a gaze that loves, a gaze that has known it forever, that had followed it through every day of its life without it ever noticing. When the soul opens its eyes, Jesus said to Mother Speranza, the first thing it meets is my gaze, and in that gaze it sees its whole life as I saw it, not the mistakes, but the times I saved it without its knowing. This is why, Mother Speranza explained, that first instant is at once the sweetest and the most terrible. Sweet, because the soul discovers itself loved as it had never imagined. Terrible, because in that gaze it understands how little it had responded to such love. And yet, and this is the heart of her message, that gaze never changes. Even before the coldest soul, even before the one who had denied him 1,000 times, those eyes remain the same, full of a love that does not surrender. I do not look at what you have done, Jesus confided to her. I look at what you can still become if you let yourself be loved. And there is more, Mother Speranza confided. In that gaze, the soul does not see only two eyes, it sees the wounds, the hands, the side, the marked face. And it understands, in a flash, a truth that had escaped it on earth, that each of those wounds had been opened for a precise moment of its life, one for the night it had wept alone, believing no one saw, one for the day it had gotten everything wrong and felt itself lost, one for the last time it had prayed, so many years before, with the heart of a child. You were never alone, Jesus said to her. In every one of your tears I was there beside you, even when you were not seeking me. Only you did not turn to look at me. Now, at last, you see it. And it is this, Mother Speranza explained, that wounds the soul with an almost unbearable sweetness, to discover that love had always been there, in every instant, in every forgotten corner of its story, and that it had crossed its whole life without ever noticing. But in that very moment, she recounted, there is still a battle. The enemy of the soul makes one last attempt. He can no longer make it sin, but he can still try to make it lower its eyes. He whispers, "Do not look at him. You do not deserve those eyes. Hide yourself." And Jesus, Mother Speranza explained, never forces. He waits only for the soul to find the courage to lift its eyes and hold his gaze of love. Many souls, the Lord said, remain still on the threshold, not because I reject them, but because they do not dare believe they are loved so. Once during prayer, Mother Speranza told of having seen a man who was dying far from God after a life spent denying him. And she saw Jesus bend over him in silence and simply look at him. For a long moment, the man kept his eyes down, full of shame. Then, she recounted, he slowly raised his gaze, met those eyes, and in those eyes he found not the judge he feared, but a father weeping for joy at seeing him again. In that moment, he let himself be embraced, and the light enfolded them both. "You see, my daughter," Jesus said to her, "this is all I wait for, that they lift their eyes toward me." And for the one who finds the courage to hold that gaze, Mother Speranza explained, something begins that no human word can describe. Some souls, she said, realize they cannot yet bear to fix their eyes on so much light. This is what we call purgatory. Not a prison of fire, but the gentle time in which the soul, already saved, learns to grow accustomed to being loved so much. They suffer, Jesus explained to her, but with the most beautiful of sufferings, that of one who knows he is awaited. And for the one who can at last look at him without lowering its eyes any longer, heaven opens. Paradise, she said, is to be able to contemplate those eyes forever, knowing they will never close again. But Mother Speranza did not hide the other possibility, and she spoke of it with tears in her eyes. Not all souls lift their gaze. Some, before a love so great, feel a shame so strong that they prefer the darkness. It is not God who rejects them. It is they who turn away, convinced to the very end that they cannot be loved. Hell, she said, is not a place where God sends us. It is the refusal to let oneself be looked upon. This is why she begged us not to arrive at that instant with a hardened heart, as strangers to those eyes. Because the last word in the end does not belong to sin. It belongs to love, if only we allow it. Whoever looks at me every day, even for a single moment, Jesus said to her, on the last day will recognize my eyes and will no longer be afraid. Then we understand why that first gaze decides so much. In that instant, our heart is still free. We can hold those eyes and let ourselves be loved or turn away, convinced we do not deserve it. God closes his doors to no one. It is the soul that, out of fear or pride, can still choose to lower its gaze forever. Mother Speranza repeated it tirelessly. We must not arrive at that instant as strangers. Whoever learns to look at Jesus every day, in prayer, in an image before a tabernacle, will not be afraid of those eyes in the final moment. They will recognize them as one recognizes the gaze of someone who has always loved us. This is why she prayed every day for the dying. She said that every Hail Mary offered for one who is dying is like a hand laid gently upon his face, helping him to raise his eyes toward that gaze. When someone you love departs, Mother Speranza said, do not think of the darkness. Think that in that moment he is seeing, for the first time, the eyes that have loved him from all eternity. And if one day we are afraid of death, let us remember what she left us. Beyond the last breath, there awaits us not a tribunal, but a face. the face of the one who created us out of love and has waited for us our whole life. The first thing we will see will not be our sins. It will be his gaze, and it will be enough for us to lift our eyes. If you too want to answer that gaze, write now in the comments, "Jesus, when I open my eyes, help me to look at you." And if you have lost someone dear, share this video. Perhaps it is the caress that someone today needs to receive, because those eyes have never closed and they keep searching for ours. May God bless us all